It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a motion video.
It's Movie Times, produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to broadcast shows Fridays at 4:01 and 8:01 p.m. Read reviews and listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Mary Yerina.
And this is It's Movie Time.
Yay, it's
Yay.
time for the movies.
Well, Mary, I don't know why, but I confuse our current title with one that I really respect called A Simple Plan. And this is nothing like A Simple Plan. It's called Another Simple Favor, right?
That is correct.
Its big draw is Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. Both of them, I think, very prominent current actresses in film. And so for us, worthwhile looking at.
Absolutely.
And so set it up for us, Mary, if you can make sense of it.
So if you saw A Simple Plan, you will be sorely disappointed. But if you saw A Simple Favor,
Yeah.
which was a film based on a book of the same title by Darcy Bells. This film was released in 2018 and was theatrically released and did quite well for a relatively small budget film. And when it started streaming, created almost a cult following because we have these two strong actresses playing really strong roles and are frenemies, if you will, in the modern parlance. They are both moms of boys at a school whose paths cross. They are polar opposites in terms of personalities. Anna Kendrick plays Stephanie, I forget her last name.
Well, good for you, yeah. How about Smothers?
Stephanie Smothers. Stephanie Smothers, who is widowed and is trying to make it as an online influencer with her Hi Moms vlog. And she seems very pert and perky and is the mother who does everything at the school. And we have Blake Lively playing Emily Nelson, who is a high-end PR representative for a fashion company and is married and has the son, and but is very snarky and mean-spirited.
She's a bad girl.
She's a bad girl.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, her outside activity, outside of the film, bolsters her image as a bad girl.
Well, right now it is, but I don't know how much of that is
of course,
social media trolling versus reality. But they, in a weird way, become connected and become friends, and then kind of the hijinks ensues with regards to Emily disappearing and Stephanie trying to use her vlog to help find her, and I don't want to give too much away if you haven't seen it.
Mary, what do you mean when you say vlog?
A video blog is a vlog.
Okay.
And we are not a vlog. Who knows? Maybe we will be someday. But anyway, we have that as the original film. At the end of the film, Emily is sent to prison for faking her own death because she killed somebody else. This film starts Another Simple Favor with Stephanie, who has become quite successful. She has written a book called The Faceless Blonde that she's trying to promote, but things have stalled a little bit.
And that's based upon her experience.
Her experience with Emily.
Yeah.
But it's stalled a little bit, and so we're at a semi-well-attended author talk and signing at a local bookstore when Emily walks in and asks her to
so when Blake Lively walks in, you better look.
Blake Lively walks in.
Just regal as can be.
Regal, and the thing, and there's some genuinely funny moments, which we'll get to in a minute. But she walks in and asks her to do her another simple favor of being her maid of honor at her now very elaborate wedding.
one of the outrageous twists in this. I mean, there's no way that Stephanie should be going and being her maid of honor.
No.
But in order to kind of support what you're saying, there is goodness here. There is some humor, and if you accept it as absurdist comedy, I think it works. If you take it straighter, it doesn't work for me.
Well, it's a concept that, obviously was based, as I said, was based on a novel. This film is not based on the original author's material.
Right.
It's really because during the pandemic, as I heard Paul Feig, the director, discuss it, they were thinking about these characters of Emily and Stephanie and where would they go from here 5 years on. And so they started to develop this story, and it became kind of an organic process with the actors. Henry Golding, who plays Sean, Emily's
Oh, that so bothers me. His role as a
husband.
drunk just annoys me. He is such a fine actor and a fine-looking human being, and he does a good job of making me annoyed by him in this movie. But he's an ex-husband.
He's by this point, 5 years on, he is the ex-husband of Emily.
And ex-lover
Of Stephanie.
of Stephanie, right?
Yeah. But as he described it, it was a very organic process with the actors working with the director and the writers to develop these characters and what they thought would be the logical next step 5 years later. And I will say the exploration of Stephanie and Emily's relationship, if you suspend the disbelief of why on earth would she go to Capri and be her maid of honor,
Right.
And the fact that she's now out of prison 5 years on and is marrying this, gorgeous Italian guy. Excuse me.
And there are twists. And he's a member of the mob, really.
It's going to be hard to talk about this without giving too much away.
Well,
he's a member of the mob.
Yeah, so that's another twist that I think is kind of interesting, though they don't explore it.
They don't explore it, and this was developed during the pandemic, and I think it needed more of an editor's eye, because the first film is just kind of a fun romp, and there are lots of twists, and this is made in the same style, amped up.
And if you want a template, take a look at Knives Out.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And so it attempts to be something like that.
It does, but it needs some editing because there are so many twists.
Yes.
At one point during the film, again, without giving anything away,
There
no
sometimes
spoilers.
you have to, right.
But there are some really just that's another twist, that's another twist, that's another twist, and you're just like, I just want this to be over. Was the point I reached with this film. And even though there are, as I said, genuinely funny moments, when Emily makes her entrance into the bookstore, fresh out of prison, she's wearing a suit that is prison stripe-esque and has chains hanging
it's great.
from it
Yes, right.
to represent shackles. And so there are some really subtle or not so subtle funny moments like that, and there's some really funny dialogue, but there's so much of it that's gratuitous. Sean's drunken demeanor, and his comeuppance in the film. There's also the chorus returns, the other parents at the school return with really nothing to do. Very limited role. The detective from Connecticut, we find out is going to become Stephanie's silent partner and is helping her, doesn't really have a lot to do.
No, he's a loss.
And we have Allison Janney and Elizabeth Perkins, two
Yes.
actresses who I really admire their work, who are involved in the story but really aren't given a lot to do either.
You can tell that they're to punch it up.
They were there to punch it up.
But it just isn't sustained,
No.
and nor is it tremendously witty. They just buy their own personas as actresses. They bring it in. They bring in something. I see what Feig was trying to do, but your point is very well taken. It's way too much.
There's too many characters. There's too much, and even we meet Stephanie's now assistant, who's played by Tony winner Alex Newell, who isn't given anything to do
Yeah, right.
in the film.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because they're a talented individual
Yeah,
and should have been given more to do, a more meaty role, more involved in the plot twists. At one point, Stephanie has escaped from house arrest and is looking for the safe house and an FBI agent, and all of that will be explained to you if you watch the film. And she sees Vicky shopping through a shop window and doesn't like reach out to her for help. And there's just things like that you're like, well, why didn't they give that character more to do to support, their boss, as opposed to, oh, she's shopping in Capri and I'm just going to move on.
Good point.
There's just a lot that
well,
are dead ends and not well done dead ends. They're not designed to, as a comedic thriller, they're not designed to either be funny or thrilling or deepen the mystery. So it's a flawed script to begin with, and it's a flawed product.
Well, one of the things that attracted me to have us do it, and I don't like to pick one of my top critics to do something that...
Oh, you flatter me.
Right, to do something as thin as this. But I had just returned from Capri, so that I was just excited to see what they were going to do with that location.
And
it's not worth seeing.
Even for Capri?
If you want to see Capri, no, it is not. Lots of drone shots, which doesn't bring anything back to me, since we obviously were not capable of looking at the island in that way. And then they have a beautiful wedding ceremony. It reminded me of Mamma Mia without the music. And I don't think they did much with that at all. It was just gorgeous location.
I think that was to show off her wedding attire.
Lively's I think the wedding gown is pretty cool as far
Well,
as
it's a latex bodysuit, corset, a sleeveless corseted bodysuit, and then it has a huge satin skirt and train.
Yes.
And the end of the train, which it's in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away, looks like it's been dragged through blood. It's like this red end of this long train coming down the aisle. No, it's a beautiful setting.
And I think that's a good reason to go, but not because I've told my friends who went with me not to bother to see it unless they're into absurd comedies. Mary Yerina, I think I'd like to talk a little bit more in our podcast, which is in WCBE 90.5 and Podcast Experience and Backtalk. And I'd like to talk a little bit more about Blake Lively, about other strong women, and maybe some comedies. But what do you advise our audience, Mary?
I would say only if you really want to explore the absurdist comedy aspect of this.
Yes.
To see it, it's on Amazon Prime. It's not being released in the theaters, which actually speaks volumes given how much money they made on a simple favor. But it's just not gonna satisfy you totally. And if there's another film out there you'd rather see, go see that.
And if you do find it in the theater, it's a good time to just relax and not expect anything, and have some visual delights, and look at some pretty good actresses.
That is true.
It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a